Okay, so here what I've done, I've just prepared the wood. There's several pieces glued together. So the concept of this aquascape is traditional Amano style nature aquarium. That's what I'm aiming for. I'm using AQUARIUM from Seachem, which I use in all my scapes, and this is a really good aquarium soil. So what I'm doing here is creating a slope with the soil. That's to give it a better sense of depth when you look at it from the front. You want to aim for about 3 to 4 centimetres at the front, sloping up to around 7 or 8 centimetres. I do it nice and neat. It doesn't have to be perfect like this, it's just the way I like to do it. Get nice and clean and tidy, especially at the front. You want a nice, clean, straight line, and it's visually more appealing once you've got your foreground plants in. So here I'm just going to try and position the wood. This is hornwood, and I want to try and keep this under the surface for this one. My last few tanks have been, the wood has been coming above the surface, and I kind of want to keep this under for this one. I'm quite happy with that actually. So yeah, so it's aiming. Got some nice shapes coming up by the time we'll get the ferns on. So far so good. This is where I like to use a brush just to get right amongst it. I just prefer to use the brush rather than the scraper for this. So at this point I'm going to start adding the stones. This is black north stone. Good thing with having it all soil is I don't have to worry about placing the stones and act as a barrier. Basically it's for decorative purposes and obviously attaching plants too. When you're placing the stones, you'll see this, it's got like a flat piece, and we've got the interesting sides with more details. So that's what I'm aiming for, is hide that flat piece. A good point when using stones on soil, the less stones you use, you've got more space for planting, but say you haven't got enough plants, you can also take up more of the room with the stones. So that's a nice little tip for you. More stones, when you've got less plants, the more plants you want to place, use less stones. After tying everything up, I straighten the front line again. I think I'm quite happy with the composition. I think what I'll do now is just secure it at some points. I'll glue some wood to the stone, make sure it doesn't float. So what I'm doing here is using some tissue paper to squeeze that in some gaps, and then we'll use some liquid glue which has some sort of reaction and secures it nice and tight. This is a process I've used to attach the pieces of wood together. This is just be on the safe side. Now we'll just add this glue. You may see a little bit of smoke, gets light as the chemical reaction happens. Maybe it's not. Sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. You can cover that with a small amount of soil, or to be honest, we'll be covering with moss and plants, so you won't see the tissue. Okay, so that's a hardscape secure. I'm pretty happy with how it's looking. So I'm going to make myself a brew and then get a little planting. Alright, so now I'm just going to soak everything down, the soil and the hardscape, ready for planting. You don't have to do this, but I prefer to plant in wet soil. Some people prefer dry, some people prefer to fill it up. It's entirely up to yourself. This is just a method. Opposite. Okay, so I'm going to start with some coral moss from another setup. So I'm just using Seachem leaf glue here. It's the same as Seachem flourish glue really. So just add a bit of glue. I've got these amazing clumps of ball biters, which are from another scape, and I've got plenty of it, and this is why I based this aquascape on the ball biters. I didn't want it to go to waste, so this is like the star of the show in this scape. I know it's going to be a repeat. I'm going to have to keep it in check because I don't want it to take over, but it is a big part of this scape, so yes, nice. So I think I'll position this first piece around there. Just wedge that in. I won't be using, if I need to use glue I will, but I'll try to use the nooks and crannies first. I think that'll go anyway. I might just place them temporarily and shift them about a bit, but I'll have a bit of play. This right hand corner I want to be heavy with crypts, and it doesn't matter if the ball biter shades it because crypts do well in the shade, so that's good. So as I was planting the crypts around this area, I do know there's a stump there, so I can't plant. So just use your pincets, and you can see where you can plant, where you can't. So I'm hitting that stump there. So a little tip for that is just using a nubius attached to a small stone. I can position this to where I think it looks decent. And just position that there. And that takes care of that area. It'll just take root and attach to the wood and elsewhere. So I'm using a nubius alongside the ball biters because I remember watching a video to Takashi Morano. He used to plant nubius and ball biters together a lot in his aquascapes, and found in the wild together, often found in the wild together, nubius and ball biters. So nice combo. I'm using two types of plants for the carpet. This one's Elatine Hydropiper. So planting these, just split it into small portions. I find it best to use really fine tip tweezers for this one. Instead of one clean carpet with the Elatine, I'm also going to plant some Eleocharis mini hairgrass. Okay, stems I've chose for this one is again pretty traditional with nature aquarium style. So it's Rotonifolia green, Rotala Atra, and I haven't got it yet, but I need some Pogostemon. Used to be called Reckless, I'm forgetting the new name of it. I'll overlay that. I'll leave a space for that as well because I don't have it yet, but I will be planting that. So yeah, so I'll start with the Rotala green, which I'm going to start on the left hand side with. So again, these are just cuttings from another scape. I'm just going to plant 3 or 4 stems at a time. I got a good tip at Josh Sims' workshop at Horizon Aquatics, and what he was saying is when you trim plants, so I've trimmed these, you can plant, so I've pulled them out and they're pretty tall, and I've cut them in half so I can plant the rooted side and also the new cuts. So loads to plant. When you're planting stems, I wouldn't worry too much about getting the area covered, because once they grow and you first trim, you can plant the cuttings so you can cover a bigger area. So yeah, the stems, just a mixed bag of rotollers and the big cement to get for this side. But that's all the plants I have for now.